positive about it.
Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my live show, and welcome to all your latest Chelsea transfer news and Tottenham transfer news this afternoon as well. As you can see, I'm joined by Sava from Football Heritage TV. Mate, it's always a pleasure to catch up. Obviously, probably in slightly better circumstances for me than it is for you. But before we dive into all that, guys, make sure you smash up the like, subscribe if you're new around here, get involved in the chat, all of that good stuff. First of all, mate, how are you? You good?
I'm good. I just like the way that you've already taken the piss out of me by saying we're going to be talking about all the Spurs transfer news, because that's going to be a very quick show. It's going to be a really quick show, mate. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, quick segment on the Spurs transfer news, and then we're done. Big up to everyone that's locked in already. There was a few problems with the chat earlier today when I was streaming, but it seems to be working now. So we're all good. We're all good. So we will get to Tottenham. But I'm wary that you do constantly always talk about them. So I'd actually like to get your thoughts on what Chelsea are doing. Obviously, people that tune in to me know what I think and what not, but it's always interesting to get other perspectives. In terms of the transfer business we've done so far, what have you made of Chelsea? You know, we always sign players, we always move players on, we always spend a reasonable amount of money. What have you made of the business that we've done?
Yeah, I think as a whole, very jealous of seeing a club that actually acts like a football club. Yeah, listen, if I look at your players, I mean, I'm a big fan of Hato, big fan of Simmons. Obviously, those two deals look like they're going to be wrapped up in the next 48 hours. Big signings, those. I think Xavi Simmons is a really good footballer. Very intelligent, can play in a couple of positions, technically very good. I think he'll light up Stamford Bridge. Hato, very good, 19 years of age, but really does look big, strong, imposing. Really like João Pedro. I think he's one of those that could explode. I think there's only so much you can do at certain clubs, and I think he probably reached the limit of what he could achieve at Brighton. Bino Gittins, I've seen bits of him. I can't sit here and say, oh my God, he's breathtaking, but we'll see whether he's a top player or a peripheral player. And Delap for me is the ultimate throwback. He is he's not gracious, if you will. He's a bustling centre forward who fights for everything, holds it up, knows where the net is. And I think that could be a really good signing. So yeah, you've done some good bits. I just want to say, just before I hand it back to you, that I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of egg on their face with Chelsea, because a couple of years ago, when everyone was going, oh, all we're doing is buying young players, oh, we're wasting money. Well, Cucurella, Palmer, Caicedo, Lavio, Fernandes, Gusto, they're all starting to mature nicely, aren't they? So yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you can always like only really speak on what's happening at the time. And I suppose when there's a big change of ownership, like there was at Chelsea from Roman to Bowley and Clearlake, things were obviously going to be different. There were going to be changes. And when you see an approach come in that's never been done in football before, you know, no one's really come in and just purely signed that way, the long contracts and all this sort of business. You know, you do sort of start to question, well, what are these guys seeing that no one else has seen in terms of thinking you can win with this approach? But I think you're now seeing not only are we starting to get some fruits of that labour in terms of, yes, it was a Conference League, but a trophy's a trophy and we won, and that importance of that can really push us on. The Club World Cup, I think, was massive, you know, in terms of us on a global stage beating a side like PSG. No one's done what we've done to PSG all season in terms of just taking them apart in a major final. And people can say, oh, it's not a major final, it's this or that, it's whatever. If their team was in it, they'd be speaking about it very, very differently. So, you know, I think we are moving in the right direction. There's still a few little question marks, but I think in terms of Enzo Maresca, he's proven a lot of people wrong. Some of the criticism last season was warranted, absolutely, but some of it, in my opinion, was massively over the top as well. People seem to forget this guy had come off one season managing Leicester City in the Championship and then chucked into arguably probably the most difficult job in the Premier League and one of the most difficult jobs in world football in terms of Chelsea, the turnover of players, the sort of how quickly managers have been coming in and out. And I think he's done a really, really good job so far. He's given a great account of himself, and he's also showing some tactical flexibility as well, some tactical nous in terms of how we finished the season. And then going into that Club World Cup, we were playing slightly differently as well, whether you want to call it the 3-4-3 or the 4-2-2-2, the Christmas tree formation, whatever you want to call it. We were seeing some different bits and pieces. We were seeing not really two out-and-out touchline wingers like he likes to have, but more, well, one touchline winger on the right or the left-hand side, and then someone else who will start on the left or right, but then drifts in, and they almost plays as two number 10s. But Maresca said that himself, you know, he would like to play with two number 10s. And now you've got João Pedro, Cole Palmer, Xavi Simons hopefully coming in. You've got those options to play with two 10s. And I know we'll get on to Tottenham shortly, but like in terms of the attacking options, when you look at Chelsea with the attacking options so far, right? And this is presuming players stay, right? So we'll presume that Jackson will stay. So you've got Jackson, Delap, and João Pedro, maybe as choices at number 9. You've got Esteval Willian and Pedro Neto on that right side. Cole Palmer could also shift to the right if needed. You've got Palmer, Xavi Simons, and João Pedro who can all play 10. You've got Gittins and Simons who can play on the left. Palmer could go to the left if needed. And then João Pedro could also go to the left. So you're looking at that and you're sort of thinking there's eight attacking options there, all different types of players, all giving you something different, which is almost a perfect situation.
Yeah, but is it as strong as Richarlison and Solanke? That's what you have to ask yourself, mate.
And Son. And don't forget the Burnley wizard, Wilson Odebear as well, mate.
Yeah, we'll talk about mine later. But yeah, listen, you've got options. I think you've got options. Look, I think the difficulty that any Chelsea manager has is you guys had that spell where you were the best club in the country. You know, you were winning Champions Leagues, you're winning leagues. And the problem that I think that any manager's got now is obviously your fans have got big expectations and there's nothing wrong with that. But now Liverpool's spending a ton of money. City are, Chelsea are, Arsenal are. Newcastle could probably now start spending money, especially if they sell Isak, right? Spurs are spending money, obviously not to on the caliber, but clubs have got money now. So I don't think it's as easy as it was before, but your fans still demand to be in that mix. The big question that I would have looking at Chelsea right now is I think you're very much, I think looking from the outside in, people are going to go, right, well, Liverpool, especially if they get Isak, Liverpool have to win it, right? Reigning champions, spent 300 million. If they get Isak, it'll be 450 odd million, right? City, spending money, big in the last 2 windows. City have got to win it, right? Arsenal, they've spent big and they've been second 3 years in a row. Charlie, guess what? They've got to win it, right? Everyone's got to win it
as well, yeah. Everyone.
And then my question is, are Chelsea there with those clubs, or are you here next behind? I still feel like you're missing, I don't know, something. I don't know what it is.
A top goalkeeper for sure.
Top goalkeeper, maybe. I mean, look, Hatto's only 19, maybe a top centre half, but I think you've got to be there or thereabouts come the end of the season for everything that you're doing, incomings and outgoings.
Yeah, I agree that like we've got to do an improvement on last season. We need to win a trophy, whether it's the League Cup, FA Cup, dare I say it, Champions League, or whatever it is. And I think we need to try and challenge for the league title. We're not saying win the league title, that would be amazing, but we got to try and challenge, you know, see if we can stay there a bit longer. Last season, I think we found ourselves in a position before Christmas that we didn't really expect to be in. Now, if we're in that position again, I'd like to see us challenge and push a bit further, you know, and maintain that maybe into February, March and April, if we can. But we're definitely going in the right direction. The only thing I would look at, though, is with the signings that we've made, and if I compare that to the signings that Arsenal have made, that Liverpool have made, that City have made, our business is not bad, and I'm happy with the window. But has the business we've done, compared to what those teams have done, has that closed the gap enough? Now, obviously, football's not all about big names. You've got to get them to suit the system and whatnot, and all those sorts of things. And sometimes, actually, the profile of players is actually more important than just getting big names in and hoping it will work. We've seen big names come so many times, and it upsets the balance of things and whatnot. But I would just look at it and just think, yes, the business is good, but have we done enough to close the gap? Is signing Delap a bigger, like, is that's not better than signing Gyökeres? At this point in time, is like Delap signing is not better than signing Isak. So I look at those little things.
But at the same time with that is there are. For me, there are signings that clubs make where you go, oh my God, you have to hit the ground running. You have to be amazing and you have to win everything. And that's where Liverpool are, right? Liverpool are not signing any kids, right? Liverpool have bought a first choice right back in Frimpong, who's been there, seen it and done it, right?
Yeah.
They bought in Kirkes, who for me I think he's a wonderful left back. I think he's a first choice left back.
Do you know what, mate? He's someone that you should have gone for. I wonder why Spurs went in for him.
Yeah. Mate, I can tell you straight away, because the moment Liverpool or Chelsea, Arsenal, or City are involved in a player, they're not going to pick Spurs, right?
Yeah,
and I keep saying this to the Spurs fans. You look at Florian Wirtz. That's not a signing where anyone's going to be prepared to give that kid, right? A kid. Anyone's a kid to me. But, no one's going to be prepared to go, I'll give him 10, 15 games. It's you're 130 million, whatever it was, go. Do you know what I mean? From game one, hat tricks, loads of assists, man of the matches. Ekatike, he's young, but he's not young. He's played for PSG. He's played for...
Yeah, he's 22, 23,
Frankfurt, right? He's just had a good season. And then the big one. If the big one comes off Isak, they are, win the league. If they don't win the league with that team that won the league last year...
It's a problem, yeah.
That for me is then you're looking at the manager and going, well, hang on, how comes you won it with Klopp's team, but now you're not winning it with your own? You guys aren't doing that. You guys aren't doing that.
We're not quite ready to do that yet. But I'll just quickly bring up this piece of Chelsea news, and it's good news, really. Chelsea planning to offer a new deal to Marc Cucurella. I mean, there were some rogue links that in Spain that Ronaldo wanted Al Nassr to sign Cucurella. Well, that's obviously not happening. Hasn't been backed up by anyone. So yeah, great. Cucurella, we're going to offer him a new deal. Probably be here till he's 50 on that contract, but that's the way that it goes. That's what we're looking to do. Nah, brilliant. He's been exceptional, and I guess he's a classic example of why you shouldn't give up on players too soon. First season, this guy come from Brighton, mate. He was hated in the fan base. He was booed, and then even last season, right? He was under Pochettino. He was within touching distance of going on loan to Man United. We played him in a Carabao Cup third round game against Wimbledon or something, and he was then obviously cup tied, and that deal to United never happened, and then the rest is kind of history, I suppose. I guess with certain people, fans are just way too quick to judge players.
When you signed him, listen, when you signed him, I remember saying at the time, really good.
Because City wanted him as well.
So many were saying, oh, he's rubbish. Oh, look how he started, blah, blah, blah. But I think he's been exceptional. I thought he was absolutely brilliant in the Euros for Spain as well when they won it. I thought he was brilliant for you lot last year. I just think he's one of those, he's 100% every game. He loves the tackle, from what I can see. He loves driving forward. He loves being involved. He loves the controversy. I think this is a brilliant signing for Chelsea. And I think if you can tie him down on a longer-term contract, I think this is a no-brainer to keep him. And the fact that you're saying, look, Hato could be backup left back and, can play at centre half as well. I think it's great. He's a very good footballer. Very good footballer.
And do you know what's great about this as well is that, and you talk about succession planning, you talk about being proactive. Look, Cucurella is 27, right? He's not old, but by Chelsea standards right now, 27 is at he's one of the oldest at the club, which is mental. But if he signs a new contract, then that probably takes him up till he's maybe 30 or whatnot. He might be here for another three years or so. In that point, Jarell Hato can come in, learn the system, learn from Cucurella, play games. And then when Cucurella moves on, Hato's been here for 2-3 seasons, and bang, 22, 23, he's ready to step in, be that number one left back, and will be up and running and ready. And then we'll go and find the next guy to go and be a backup to him. So when you talk about planning,
squad planning,
exactly it.
Planning, mate.
Exactly it. And not
you're the opposite of what my club does.
Yeah,
you're the absolute opposite of what my club does.
And it's not always been like that, by the way. You know, we have got a lot of things wrong. Yes, we've made a lot of signings, and purely by a numbers game, the more you sign, you know, some are going to work out. But there's also been a lot of things that haven't worked out. But I suppose as long as more work out than don't work out, then I guess it's kind of all right. But I mean, mate, just quickly, what are your thoughts on Garnacho? Because he's someone that was obviously he's been linked. I've seen him loosely linked with Spurs, Aston Villa potentially as well. The big one is Chelsea. Like, it still isn't going away. I don't. What are your thoughts on him? Because he seems to be someone that's a really good opinion.
I think he's a really good player, but I think he's at a crossroads, right? So if people stop my sentence purely at, I think he's a really good player, they won't get the rest of it, right? I think he's at the crossroads. I think he's been part of that kind of Man United circus for a few years where, listen, I fail to believe that Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony, Casemiro, Ugarte, I fail to believe that these are just all bad footballers the moment they rock up at Man United. I don't believe it, right? I think Garnacho's got all the talent in the world. And like many other young players that have got that, I believe it's about how you're coached. I believe it's about the environment you're around. I believe it's about what's expected of you. So, for example, a player like Garnacho at a Man City for the last 2-3 years would have been learning his trade. Pep would have been using him sparingly, bringing him on in games for 20 minutes, starting him in cup games, right? Integrating into the squad, kind of like what he's done with someone like maybe a Jeremy Doku to a lesser extent. At United, he's kind of started from like 18, 19. They're like, go on, you're the main man. And it's like, whoa. At Man United, they're kind of like you guys, but older school, if I mean. And what I mean by that is their fans still think they are Man United that used to win trebles, right? So I think it's unfair. For example, let me explain clearer what I mean. If you've got Garnacho, Højlund, and Xerxes as your front three at Man United, those three should be at Man United as the three behind the main three.
100%.
There should be a front three, i.e. Mbeumo, Sesko, Cunha. There's your front three. And then those three should be, right, Højlund, you learn off Sesko. Right. Xerxes, you learn from Mbeumo. Garnacho, you learn from Cunha. Right. Do you know what I mean? But unfortunately, Man United have thrown all those three players in at that young age at a club as big as United and gone, go on, be our main men. So I think Garnacho is a very talented footballer. I think under the right manager, he's going to do very well. But I do think that somebody needs to get hold of him and say, oi, remember you're a footballer. Stop worrying about the social media crap. Stop worrying about getting involved in this, that, the other. Go to a club. Learn from the coach, keep your head down and just play football because he's gifted. He's a gifted footballer. So that's where I'm at with him. I just think we judge too harshly. People are either brilliant or they're shit. And I feel like there's a big...
There's no in between.
There's no in between.
But do you know what's mad, right? I know like it's not always... Numbers is not everything, but it plays a part and you're going to want decent output from attacking players. If you were purely looking at metrics on Garnacho, right, in terms of wingers in Europe's top 5 leagues under the age of 21, mate, he ranks very, very highly.
He does.
In that age bracket. Now, does that mean that clubs should sign him? No, that doesn't solely mean that. But what it means is the underlying numbers are there. And the fact is, there is a decent player there. My thing would be is it worth bringing in someone who is potentially a divisive player, someone who potentially comes in with baggage in terms of, this is not for me necessarily too much about what he brings on the field. I think there's better players out there, but obviously he can get better. But it's more about what he brings off the field. You know, the things that his brother does, you know, stuff that he comments on social media. Sure. His brother that I think he represents him, was definitely part of his circle or whatever, tweeting out last season, oh, Palmer won't even score 10 non-penalty goals with like some laughing faces and stuff. Like things that shouldn't really matter that much, but they build up a perception around you that could do you a disservice. But you've got to be very careful.
Look what Spurs fans, look what football fans are like, right? Football fans read a report or see something on social media, and we pretend we know the person.
Mate, I say this all the time.
Right?
Yeah,
We pretend we. So for example, with my fan base, when I'm doing shows and I say, "Oh, I'll take Grealish," and people go, "Oh, he's a drunk. He's got an attitude problem." Oh, whoa. So hang on. So what you mean is you've seen some photos of him drunk.
What shot man that's 28 goes out? Wow.
Yeah, that doesn't make you a drunk. And for all of these people that talk about his attitude, all I see in his interviews, he comes across really well. He seems like he's very well loved in the dressing room and with the rest of the players and stuff like that. So, got to remember, Garnacho's a young man, right, that maybe needs an arm around. Maybe he needs an arm around him from a Maresca that says, "Hey, come here, listen, oi, you're a good footballer. Don't worry about all that. Stick with me. I'll coach you. I'll make you." But people are going, "Nah, he's horrible. He's got a terrible attitude." It's like, first and foremost, they're young. Most of these people are young. Second of all, you don't know that. You don't know. Listen, I've done stupid shit on social media. You've probably done some stupid shit on social media.
Well, I think people need to ask themselves, and like people in the chat and just in general, did you do nothing stupid when you were 19, 20, 21?
It's ridiculous. Like, you've got a guy in your chat right now called Concerned. And, like says, "I've got 2 eyeballs. I've seen him. He's shit." Now, this is why, no offense, I don't mind if I piss this person off. Sorry if he's one of your followers. But this is the sort of football fan who you can tell has there's no common sense. There's no compassion. There's no idea of how footballers work, right? Because if you watch Garnacho and you say he's shit, that tells me you don't really understand football, the fact that you said he's shit. If you're going to say he's raw, if you're going to say he's talented but lacks in this area, that area, I respect you. But when you're going to spout nonsense like he's shit, well, he's not, is he? He's got good numbers for a young player. Clearly, if Chelsea, Spurs and Villa want him, he's not shit, right? I feel like people like that. I think you've got to take a step back. We've seen this before with footballers where they're written off and written off and written off. Look how much Enzo Fernandez for 2 years has been written off by the world of football.
Loads, mate. Right? Well, we spoke about it earlier. Cucurella. We spoke about it before, yeah.
Caicedo. By the way, this is just at your club right now. Caicedo, oh my God, he's dreadful. And I can't believe we paid this money for him. Now, Chelsea, for me, have got one of the strongest midfields in the country, right? Sometimes it's amazing what a little bit of coaching does. An arm around a player, the right manager, the right system, the right teammates, the right skill set. But we're too quick. We're too quick to call people shit. Too quick to call them shit. It's silly. It's silly for me.
Mate, I do agree with you. The problem we got nowadays, as we touched on earlier, is that you're either the best thing ever, or you're absolutely dog shit. There's no in between. So I think, look, I don't want to it is how it is. But I just think nowadays there's a complete lack of ability to have a nuanced debate about a player. It's either you're either really good or you're not good. There can't be a situation where, well, do you know what? This guy is clearly a talented player, but for XYZ reasons, I don't think this would be good. Maybe he's too raw. Maybe
Charlie, what I just said to you. Look at Man United, right? Look at Man United, right? Something has not been right there for years.
I agree, right? Yeah.
All of these players, are we saying Ugarte was wanted by so many teams? He's shit.
Mate, we almost signed him. We were close to signing him on the Poch, yeah.
But there's something at United. Now, listen, that doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and go, oh my God, everyone's got to sign Garnacho. Oh my God, he's amazing, the greatest thing. But it's amazing when you take a player out of an environment, some of them thrive, some of them don't. Sometimes it's the perfect club for the perfect manager and the perfect teammates at the right time. Yeah. At the moment at Man United, I'll answer this. I'll ask this. Who has Garnacho had to learn off?
Oh, there's been no one, has it?
Since the age of 19, he's been the guy on that left wing, so to speak. Where
well, it's been what him. United have got what him, Ahmad, and Rashford. And Rashford ain't really been there much. Anthony's not been there much. Sancho's been in and out. So no, I absolutely agree. I mean, Sava, quickly, would you take Garnacho at Spurs?
I mean, listen, he's not my first choice, but he is better than what we've got. I always say this: if I woke up tomorrow and I see that Spurs have signed Garnacho, I'm not going to lose my mind about it, because I think that under the guidance of somebody as senior as Frank, I think someone like Thomas Frank would put his arm around him and say, look, you see what I did with Visser? You see what I did with Mbuemo? Stick with me, learn, coach, work hard. I'm going to get the best out of you. Does that mean he's my first choice? No. But I'm a Spurs fan. I can't turn down players like Garnacho.
You know what
I mean? Like,
no, just lastly on this Garnacho thing. If he ends up coming to Chelsea, right, it is what it is. I've accepted that this could highly likely to happen. Now, if we get to a point when I think Chelsea are waiting, and I think Chelsea are going to wait until later in the window, until that price comes down, and if we could do a deal at £40 million, then you could argue that's a decent deal. I don't think he's going to be a first choice at Chelsea. Yes, he'll play, but he won't be a regular. I just don't know if it's overkill. I mean, you could look at it this way. You could look at it and be like, right, okay, let's say he comes. Gittins and Garnacho, left wing. Xavi Simons and Cole Palmer, number 10s. Esteval and Pedro Neto on the right. And then you can have Delap, Joao Pedro, and Nico Jackson as 9s. And there's a bit of a rotation there. I just don't know. Do we need another option on the left? Or for me, I'm quite happy with Gittins as the out-and-out touchline winger, and Xavi Simons as someone that can start on the left and drift in. But again, is it bad to have another option? I'm like you. I'm not a huge fan of Garnacho, but if he comes, and hopefully we can change this perception around, and hopefully we can improve him as a footballer. But an extra option in my team, I'm not too concerned. The only thing would be is that if he was a main signing, I'd be pretty pissed off about it. But if he's just coming as an option, I'm not saying I want him, but it's not as bad as perhaps is being made out if he comes as just an option.
The thing is, I see this about so many players of that age where, as I said, where everyone thinks they know them. Everyone thinks they know them. You've got no idea what's gone on behind the scenes. You've got no idea what's happened with Man United. You've got no idea on all of these things. And I think as I've got older, I think one of the things I've tried to do, Charlie, as I've got older, is have more nuanced conversations where you go, well, has he had a good, like for example, like when I'm having the conversation with Spurs fans about Kudus. Yeah. Oh, but he didn't have a good year last year. Okay. But what about the 4 or 5 seasons before that when he was starting from 18, 19? Everyone loved him at Ajax, had a good World Cup for Ghana, and then had a really good first year at West Ham. But, oh, yeah, he had a bad year last year. He's terrible. He's shit. Don't sign him. And I think when football fans are like this, you start talking yourselves into not wanting to sign anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Because if you look into it deep enough, right, you could find reasons to convince yourself to not sign every player you're linked with.
Exactly.
And like you start going down those rabbit holes, you'll be like, oh, well, we shouldn't sign so-and-so because of this and that and whatnot. So, yeah.
I'd have more respect. If people said, look, do you know what? There's something there. He's not quite for me. I'd have respect. But it's when people just like that guy in your chat just called him a dickhead and shit. When people start talking like that, it just makes me turn around and go, I can only imagine the level of conversation you would have with that person on a daily basis. Like he's young, right? And talented. And he'd kick on. Yeah. I don't know. Look, I'll give you another example of how fans just say stupid stuff all the time. Phil Foden, 12 months ago, was crowned Player of the Year.
Palmer was robbed, by the way.
Sure. But he was crowned as the best footballer in the entire Premier League 12 months ago. He then has an underwhelming season, as did all of Man City, right? It's not just him. It was all of Man. And it's, I never really rated him anyway. Oh, he's shit. He's not good. He's not as good. And you're like,
mate, it's this thing, right? And I get it with a lot of people in the chat, like they have back and forth about it. It's this idea that if a player has a bad season, that player's suddenly shit. It's just like, since
Mad.
when did we judge players based from one season? If that's the only season you've got to go off, fair enough. But if you're talking about an entire career, which might be 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons, and that you've got the body of work, for example, with Phil Foden, he has one, let's say, pretty crap season last season, useless, really. But does that suddenly mean that Phil Foden's a shit player? No, it doesn't. Does that mean that, if Mohamed Kudus, as you said, had a poor season for West Ham last season? No doubt about it, had a poor season. But what about the season before? What about what he was doing with Ajax? What about what he's done for Ghana? And what about the circumstances as well? Playing in a rotten West Ham side, not with good players around him, other than Jared Bowen, no one else really doing anything in that team. So when we have these conversations, you've got to take the whole thing into account. Chelsea wanted Mohamed Kudus. In the end, we didn't press forward with an official offer or anything, but it was certainly someone that was in the thinking. You're not in the thinking of these caliber of clubs if you are terrible. Shit. And look, it's just on Kudus, by the way, mate. We'll have a little chat about Tottenham. Kudus has come in, 55 million quid. Think it's a really, really good signing. Think it's a fair price when you see the money Joao Pedro went for, when you see what Arsenal have paid for Madueke. I think it's a very good deal. It probably costs the same amount of money as Xavi Simons will cost, roughly. This seems to be the going rate for those players. Firstly, obviously, I presume you're pleased with the Kudus signing. He's had a few games in pre-season now. That's sort of the caliber of player that Tottenham should be going for. I mean, were you surprised you got him? I know in the end it was kind of a one-horse race in terms of no one else actually bid for him. But I mean, you pleased you got him? What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, we've been really, really poor in the wide areas for many years now. We always used to have somebody that excited us. We always used to have somebody that could beat a man, quick, skillful. And in the last few years, it's got really stale on those wings. This guy's got something different. He's got the pace. He's got the power. He's got the skill. He's got the direct running. Maybe a bit of a loose cannon, but again, that's down to the manager to rein that in. Again, all the West Ham fans suddenly, he's got a terrible attitude. You'll hate him. The season before, they're telling me he's magnificent. Now all of a sudden he's got a bad attitude. Yeah. Again, fans who think they know footballers. I was speaking to a couple of Ghanaians the other week, a couple of Ghanaians that I know, and they were telling me that this guy went through a lot of adversity when he was younger, had to work harder than the rest to become a pro, broke through, got his good move to Ajax, did well. And it's saying that for all those people that think they know these footballers and say, got a terrible attitude, he hasn't. He's actually a very hard worker who became a bit disillusioned with West Ham. And that's okay to become a bit disillusioned. So listen, I'm excited to see him play. He's unfortunately what we've not seen yet is him playing with our playmaker or our number one striker. So at the moment, what we've seen from him in the pre-season games is he's playing with players that he probably won't be. Yeah. When the actual proper games come around.
Maybe in Thursday's North London derby, mate, you might get North London derby in Hong Kong.
Mate. Yeah. this is the problem. Maddison, who's our playmaker, and Solanke, who's our striker, are both 50-50 for that game. They've not played in pre-season. They're both.
How many games have you had? Reading and Luton so far?
We've had Reading, but we've had 3, but 2 really, because 2 were on the same day. So we had 2 different squads.
Okay,
I saw, like, I'll tell you what he did the other day against Luton. I'll tell you what, he was the best player on the park by a mile in terms of technical ability. He's got that real good ability that he'd get the ball on the halfway line, 2-3 players around him. He's strong, holds them off, spins them, beats the press, and then he laid it off to always Tell or Brennan Johnson. Yeah. And you could see Kudus carried on his run as if to say, we're on the attack. Those two haven't got that ability. What they do is they stop, put their foot on the ball, pass it back 5 yards. And you could see Kudus looking at them as if to say, what are we doing? I've just beat the press. Why are we not going forward? Yeah. But if he gets to play with Maddison, who's a very clever, intelligent, skillful footballer, the link-up's going to be really good. So,
So do you think you'd have? Do you have what? You think you've had Kulusevski one side, Maddison in a 10, Kudos one the other side, and then Solanke down the middle, maybe? Or
I don't think they'll play both Kulu and Maddison. It's very rarely happens.
One or the other normally.
Yeah, I mean, but both of them are always injured as well. So it's kind of
True,
like
yeah.
if one of them's fit, that one plays. But I prefer Maddison by a country mile to Kulusevski. He's got more vision, more movement. But look, at the end of the day, listen, to answer your question, I like Kudus. We'll see. I think he's going to be a fan favourite. Yes, he needs to have a better year than last year. But I do think that he'll work well with Frank, and Frank will hopefully do with him what he's done with Mbeumo.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the Spurs section done, mate. You haven't bought anyone else, have you?
Absolute toilet.
Just a couple of other things, mate. I know you're sick of talking about Morgan Gibbs-White, right?
Yeah.
What happened there? Because you're seeing that, like, things like, oh well, some reports are saying, you know, we've got the here we go for him. You know, the secret release clause that no one knew about was triggered. And then, Forest are not happy with the approach, but then apparently some reports saying, well, Spurs didn't even meet the conditions to trigger the release clause. So then why are Forest annoyed about that? I mean, what has gone on here? Because it feels like it's just been a complete waste of everyone's time. It feels like you've wasted 2-3 weeks in the transfer window waiting for the outcome of this when you could have been working on other things, maybe signing other players. Hey, what do you think's happened with that whole Gibbs-White thing?
I've flip-flopped in the last 2 weeks as to what's happened on that, because no one's been given any definitive information. At first, we was all delirious. Oh my God, we've got the here we go.
It came from nowhere, didn't it? It was literally done in the same evening. Like the news first come out, and then a couple of hours later, it was done.
Exactly. And the thing is, it was the next day after we got the Kudus here we go. So it was literally in 24 hours, we were going, hang on, have we got 2 players that go into our first team in 24 hours?
110 million in 24 hours.
Don't do this. I don't know. Something's happened, hasn't it? I feel like there's a lot behind the scenes that's gone on with this, whether it's Spurs, whether it's Forest, his agent, Marinaki. I don't know. I'm so bored of this scenario. What's pissed me off more, forget Forest. Everyone's, oh my God, Marinakis this and Gibbs. Forget them. They're not Spurs for me. My biggest issue with all of this has been, why have we not been acting like a bigger club that are in the Champions League? And why have we not been getting players in whilst that's been going on? So for 3 weeks now, we've done nothing. Imagine if Chelsea didn't do anything for 3 weeks.
Have you not been working on multiple deals?
Mate, we've got nothing. Like, as far as we've seen, you know, if you look at the Ornsteins, the Romanos, we've had no player to camp conversations are going on.
There's nothing.
Nothing.
Loosely João Palhinha I seen the other day, but again, he's just like on the list really. There's no sort of major talks, is it?
So Palhinha is one that Romano's confirmed that we are talking to his camp, but he said in the coming weeks, and you know, when you're like, weeks, Jesus Christ, like
basically he's waiting for someone better to come.
We've got PSG in 15 days.
What, in the Super Cup?
In the Super Cup.
Yeah, that could be nasty.
So, look, for me, it's very frustrating, and this is the window I would expect Spurs to be having if we had lost the Europa League final and had no European revenue coming in this year. But at the moment, you would think Man United won it. Cunha and Mbeumo in talks with Sesko and Watkins. You would think that they're the club that won it and got Champions League football. And Spurs are doing what Spurs do best.
Mate, these made me laugh. Do you remember when these reports come out? I not you, sir, but I've seen a few Spurs fans like losing their minds. Oh my God, Rodrigo. And it's just like, guys, in what world is Rodrigo coming to Tottenham?
I don't pay any attention. I'm embarrassed. I'll be honest. I call it as it is. I'm embarrassed when I see big Spurs creators, you know, with thumbnails that say things like Spurs in talks for Rodrigo. And you're like, oh, God, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, no, it's mental. It has been a waste of everyone's time. I mean,
if he signed for Spurs, first thing I want to do is I want to go and get his head checked.
Yeah.
Hey, why have you left Real Madrid to join Tottenham? Why? Do you know what I mean? What's happened?
Mate, I absolutely agree. I mean, a couple of players, well, one player who could be on his way out, and I think should be on his way out, Son. Obviously, LAFC and the MLS are interested. Maybe there might be some interest in Saudi Arabia. I'm not too sure. Did he get offered? He signed a 1-year contract extension. I don't know if it was an offered extension or an option or whatever it was.
We triggered it. We
triggered the option. Yeah.
Triggered the option.
He's been an unbelievable player for Tottenham. Unfortunately, he's at that point in his career where he's probably not able to perform and contribute at this level anymore. Best for all parties that he goes. Is that what you're fully expecting?
Yeah, listen, I think we've got a lot of emotional, sentimental fans who, when they talk about Son, they're talking about Son as though it's the one from 4 or 5 years ago that played with Kane. Unfortunately, Father Time catches up with all players, and some players, as they get older, develop, change their game, they get much better. Big up, Gaurav. Some players develop differently. Unfortunately, Son's game has been very much about his explosive impact, his pace, and he had fear factor, right? He's had fear factor for fullbacks and centre halves. Unfortunately, now, Charlie, that's not there. It doesn't mean he won't score a few or assist a few, but he's now just a normal player. He's no longer, wow, we've got Son. Listen, what I'll say is this: watch out for this one on Monday or Tuesday of next week, and the reason being is this. So Tottenham are on a tour of Asia.
Well, they're not going to sell him then, are they? That'll be commercial suicide.
Right. Well, we can't. Here's the thing. So Tottenham are on a tour of Asia. We are in Hong Kong this week playing Arsenal. We then play Newcastle in South Korea on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, you can't. Yeah,
yeah. And it's written in the contract that Spurs lose their, I don't know the exact numbers, but apparently it's something like Spurs lose their rights to the gate revenue or something, or the tour revenue if Sonny doesn't play. So watch this one. As soon as that game finishes, you watch Monday, Tuesday. I think we're going to find out whether or not he stays or goes. But LAFC apparently, well, we know are in talks with him. And LA has got a huge South Korean population.
LAFC, we played them in the Club World Cup. They are shit, by the way.
Oh, mate, let's be fair. He's not going there. He'll go there. He'll be their best player.
Yeah.
He will sell millions and millions of LAFC shirts around the world.
Yeah, of course. It puts them on the map. It's great from a marketing perspective because LAFC will suddenly be, probably no one's heard of LAFC in Asia. Suddenly, they'll be massive in Asia. And that's the pull. That's the attraction for that sort of thing. Bro, Giroud's left LAFC. He's gone back to Lille. So there will be no Son and Giroud link up.
It will be Son and Hugo Lloris link up.
Yeah, it will be Son and Hugo Lloris. But I mean, Sava, in terms of other business, right? I mean, before we get thoughts on other business, I just want to get your thoughts. What are your thoughts? Obviously, we're not going to count it as a signing because he was on loan, but obviously Matthias Tell has become permanent. We were linked with him in January strongly, didn't go for him in the end. His loan spell, I think, was kind of mixed, maybe. I mean, was that a deal worth making permanent? I mean, have you seen enough in him to think there's a player there and he can contribute and be useful this season under Frank?
Look, I've said the same thing about Tell. Did I want him? No. Can he be coached to be a better player? Sure. Why not? I've said this. If he ends up being, let's play the hypothetical game, Charlie. We'll have a hypothetical.
Yeah, we love it.
If Son leaves and Tell is the replacement, I'm furious. Right?
You think you need to go and sign someone else?
Yeah. If Son leaves and you get another left-sided player and Tell in the background for the next year or two is being coached, given minutes, fine. Do I want him? No. But I'm comfortable with that. But if he ends up being our main left-sided player, then you know we've had an awful transfer window.
Yeah, I hear it.
You know, listen, Tell for me, it's an interesting one, and I need to find a better way of saying this, but Tell always looks like when I see him on the pitch, I always feel like he looks like he's going to be good, but isn't. it looks like the way he moves, the way he runs, the way he gets the ball. I think,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And then nothing really ever materializes from him.
But what is he though? Is he a 10? Is he a 9? Is he a left-sided player? He seems to be one of them players that plays everywhere.
Waldo in the chat, Kudus will be our right-sided player, man. Kudus is going to be our right-sided player, not left.
Yeah, I think Tell was 35 mil, was he?
So Tell was 35 mil, but don't forget we'd already paid a 10 million loan fee.
So actually it was 45.
So this is the problem.
That's getting pricey, isn't it? That's getting pricey.
That most Spurs fans have. Now, I did this on my show earlier. Inter Milan have just offered for Lookman 40 million euros and 5 million add-on. If they get Lookman for cheaper than we've paid Tell, that's a disgrace.
Mate,
I look at Igor Pushal. There's Malik Fofana.
Yeah.
Right? Mikatadze.
Yeah.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But we'll see. We'll see.
Nah, Timo Werner's gone. He's gone. He's back at RB Leipzig. He's not still at Spurs. I mean, that was a mad one as well. But, I mean, do you know what it is, right? Lookman, I think, would be a great signing. I don't know why Tottenham maybe wouldn't look at someone like a Lookman. But Italian clubs, right, we'll see. If it's a foreign club coming in for one of their players, it's like premium price.
Yeah, cool.
Like Italians, like Italy to Italy, you know, that's bro. They seem to do like real cheap deals for decent players. Are you telling me like 35 million quid for Lookman? That'd be like
I think the problem is
50 or 60 for a Premier League club.
A lot of the Italian clubs, I think they probably prefer to sell abroad for bigger money.
Yeah,
but I think they acknowledge that in their own league there isn't the spare cash. I mean, you look at AC Milan right now.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, AC Milan were the greatest team in the world.
Yeah.
Right. Like, honestly, when I was growing up, and it was Van Basten, Rijkaard, and Pullet
in the 90s,
crazy,
wasn't it? People would speak about Serie A in the 90s like they speak about the Premier League now. It's the best league in the world. All the best players are playing there.
Yeah. They're struggling to get Arden Jashari over the line.
Yeah.
By the way, if anyone hasn't seen Arden Jashari
play, he's good at Bruges, isn't he? He's decent.
Charlie, this boy, I'm telling you, I'll give it 2 years. He's going to be at a top club. But anyway, they're struggling. They've gone in at 25 million, 27, 33 now. They're struggling to pay. Back in the day, Milan would have just gone boom.
Yeah,
boom,
these Italian clubs don't have the money. They haven't got the money. They just don't. But I mean, look, the attack, yeah, and it needs work for sure at Tottenham. Probably needs another centre forward. Probably needs a few more, maybe one or two more wide players.
You need a centre forward, a left winger, a 6 and an 8, and a left back.
I was just not going to get them. I was going to come on to left back. A doggy's injured. I've seen Matt Law saying he could be out for months with is it ligaments or meniscus or something in his knee. That's a problem. Why is the backup left back either a right back playing at left back or Ben Davis, who, with the greatest of respects, shouldn't still be at Tottenham? I just look at that level of squad play and I just think, what is going on there? Surely Tottenham could go out and try and sign someone like Anthony Robinson from Fulham or something like that. Why would Spurs not be looking at someone like that? Surely Tottenham are able to go to Fulham and get one of Fulham's better players. Surely that's possible.
Mate, this is what I was going to say to you. If Tottenham were a serious club after getting into the Champions League, after building the world's best stadium and the world's best training ground, and being one of the 8th richest clubs in the world, if we were serious about the football side, we would have rocked up to a Fulham, for example, and said, "How much do you want for Anthony Robinson? Anthony, come and join us. You and Udogie are going to fight out for the left back." I think he's much better than Udogie, by the way. I think Anthony Robinson.
I agree. Yeah,
I think he's a brilliant player. But we're not serious, mate. It's Davis, new contract extension for a year. Don't worry. If that doesn't work out, what we'll do is we'll shuffle Van de Ven to left back. Don't worry. If that doesn't work out, we'll stick right-footed Jed Spence out there. We're not serious, mate.
No.
We're not serious at all as a football club.
Do you think you'll sign a left back?
No.
No.
If we do, it will be probably, listen, I would rate it. By the way, when people think I moan about my club, I want to be wrong, Charlie. We've had this chat.
Everyone wants to be wrong. Everyone wants to be wrong about their concerns.
I want to wake up and go, God, I can't believe it. Spurs have just rocked up to Fulham and in 48 hours we've taken Anthony Robinson for 50 million. We don't do it. Spurs go and buy people like Solanke and Richarlison and Matisse Tell. And do you know what I mean? And
Do
Brennan
you
Johnson.
know another one,
not
right?
serious.
I look at another one. I look at another one who could be available this summer. Unsure if he's available for loan, right? But if he is, why are Tottenham not all over signing Jack Grealish?
Oh, mate, don't. We've got Spurs fans.
Surely. Like, what? Why are they not?
We've got Spurs fans who don't think Jack Grealish strengthens Tottenham.
No, that can't be right. They must be trolling. There's no way Spurs fans can think that Grealish isn't an upgrade on what they say.
Mate. We've got Spurs fans who will praise the life out of people like Brennan Johnson, and Solanke and Tell, because they're actual Spurs players, right? Oh my God, yeah, get behind them. And I go, I'd take Jack on the left wing. He's got a point to prove. English, so he's homegrown. He's a leader. World Cup year.
He's a top player.
He'll play week in, week out in a World Cup year to try and get into Tuchel's squad. And we got fans going, no, he ain't good enough for what?
Could you imagine if Grealish goes Everton? Imagine if Tottenham allow Jack Grealish to go to Everton or something.
Embarrass him, man.
And this is what I'm saying. You look at, for example, the business that Everton are trying to do. Like, Tottenham are a bigger club than Everton. You've got Champions League football, and yet Everton are showing more ambition in the transfer market. It's mad. I mean, you look at kind of what you've been linked with. João Palhinha loosely. I mean, would you be happy with that signing if it happened? Is that something you need?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my gosh. Spurs have got a very ordinary midfield.
Yeah.
No, so down the years, whether or not all your Chelsea viewers want to banter me, down the years, whether Spurs have been good or not, we've always had a couple of players where you go special.
Moussa Dembele.
Yeah, class. Like a Moussa Dembele, when we had Carrick in midfield, and Modric, when we had a Bale, we had a Ginola, we had a Harry Kane.
There's none of that players now. There's none.
I'm looking at Spurs now going, this is the way I put it. Spurs have always had that player that someone looks at and goes, that's £100 million, or relative to the era, right? That's a top player. Madrid are going to get him. United, someone's going to come in and get that big player. Right now, I'm sitting there going, I don't think a single Spurs player commands more than £70 million in the market. And I think that's probably loosely Romero, loosely.
Maybe Van de Ven,
depending if we're going to look at potential moving forward. I don't see a single player where I lose them and I wake up tomorrow and go, I'm distraught. Like if you woke up tomorrow and Cole Palmer's been sold.
Oh, I'd cancel the channel. I'd go into I'd go into mourning.
we don't have one of those, right? So my favorite player at Tottenham is James Maddison, right?
Man, I really like him. I'm
also aware of his deficiencies. He's injury prone. He can be a bit soft, but for me, he's our most talented player alongside Kudus now. But there is no one. There is absolutely no one in this Tottenham squad where I look at and think, I'm really worried that one of the biggest clubs in the world is going to come and take you. And this is the first time for decades where I felt that, mate. We've had poor squads.
Yeah.
But even when we were shit in the 90s, right? Or late 90s, early 2000s, we had Ginola and Campbell in the same team. I know we're not allowed to say Sol Campbell's name, but I just did twice. Right? We had two superstars that you thought, Jesus Christ, can't lose them. Then we built that really good team under Poch where you were like Ali, Ericsson, everyone wants these players.
Yeah.
Payne, Son, Dembele, Walker, Rose. Now I'm looking at it and going, it's all some good players, good, tidy, do a job, but no one that makes me think, I really want to pay 90 quid a game to go and watch Tottenham Hotspur play, Yeah,
mate, I absolutely hear you on that. There were obviously decent players, good ballers. There was always a couple of X factor players where you're like, you got to keep your eye on them. Now you look at Tottenham and you just sort of think there's not really anyone where you're like, oh my God, I'm really worried about what he can do. Maybe Kudus could be that guy. but I'm not sure if he will be.
Hopefully.
Maybe he can be.
Hopefully.
I just wanted to quickly touch on Christian Romero, a player who probably divides opinion with Tottenham fans. Undoubtedly got lots of ability, bit of a hothead, bit rash at times. There's constant links about and rumours about, is he going to leave? Will he not leave? Every summer, he said, multiple. I think he's been quite critical of Tottenham in the past, quite publicly. He said maybe slightly disparaging things about the club. There were links to Atletico Madrid. I'm not sure that's going to happen this summer. They've gone and signed David Hanko from Feyenoord now as a centre-back. Maybe that route's now cut off. What are your thoughts on Romero? Because clearly he's a divisive character, good player. But all this constant noise every summer, is he going, is he not going? Surely you just want an answer sort of one way or the other.
Half the Spurs fan base put Romero there, up there with the world's best.
Yeah.
I think the other half of us acknowledge that on his day, he has world-class performances.
Yeah.
But that day doesn't always appear. This is a guy that I think is either brilliant or really, really tough to watch.
Yeah.
Right? This guy is this guy has all the ability of a top centre-back needs, but he is a bit rash. I think lots of people care more about his Hollywood pass. He's got superb passing. Everyone cares more about his Hollywood passing than keeping his head and leading. For me right now, this guy should be a leader at the back. And I'm hoping that if he stays, that Frank does this. This guy should be a leader at the back that talks to everyone. Yeah, talks to everyone. However, what I will do is give him a little bit of props that for the last 2 years, he's played under a shambolic manager who doesn't know how to set up a defense.
There's no tactics.
No tactics. So basically, him and Van der Ven or whoever started at centre half has been playing in a back two rather than a back four. So what I've seen already in pre-season is Thomas Frank's teams have a back four, which I really like. I like my back fours to be four. I don't know about you. I like it when they're four.
It's useful. It's useful.
So look, Romero, he's another one. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He's injury prone, like really injury prone, but always makes it for Argentina games. Always available.
Always fit, isn't he? But I suppose I guess you're at a point now where 2 years left, if there's no intentions of A, offering him a new deal, or B, he's got no intention of signing a new deal, then you have to sell this summer, because if you wait until 1 year left on a contract, you're not getting a big price. And he could go on and he could even decide to leave on a free. So really, if Spurs are going to get the biggest amount of money they possibly can for this guy, he has to be sold this summer, because he's not going to sign a new deal, is he?
Well, this is what we said. So for me, I think Spurs, again, how many times you heard me say this? Spurs are going to act like a proper serious football club. Say to him, sign a new deal, or we're going to get rid of you this year for 50, 60 million, whatever it may be, and then go again. What will end up happening, I can see this a mile off. I can see this a mile off. We keep him. He doesn't, listen, if he signs a contract, I'm wrong, fair. But I can see him staying, not signing a contract, and then we get to next summer, and he'll have clubs in his ear saying, just stick it out till January. We'll sign you on a free.
Do the Real Madrid thing. They're constantly whispering in their ear. Just run the contract down, run the contract. Like, you cannot be, and this is where, by the way, where actually Chelsea deserve credit, right? People talk about these 7-year deals, but Bowley's come out and said it himself. It's really a 5-year contract, because with 2 years left, you're either extending your current deal or we're selling you. We're not going to allow any players to enter the final 12 months of their contracts. We want control over our players, over club assets. So if you get to 2 years left and you're not going to sign a new contract, or we don't want to offer you a new deal, then you're going to be sold. That's the way that it should be. And do you not see Tottenham operating like that? Do you not see, like, if there's 2 years left, Levy won't be like, right, sign a new deal or we're selling you? That sort of thing doesn't seem to happen.
We watched Eriksen's contract tick down, Kane's contract tick down. We look, Son's contracts tick down. Ali, Dyer, all of these people, and it's just like we're the opposite to you. We're so bad at selling. We are so bad at selling, and our fans are so sentimental. The fault of any Spurs player, oh my God, you cannot sell him. Oh
Yeah.
my God, he's 56, but we still want him in the but that's Spurs fans for you. We're a very strange bunch over at Tottenham. We really are.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, for us, it's like that's what we do, and that's fine. I mean, just lastly, so before we round this one out, what do you think of the criticism from obviously like from certain rival fans about Chelsea selling Joao Felix to Saudi?
Criticism for what reason?
In terms of, oh, it's not fair, you know, how are they getting bailed out by Saudi? How do they keep doing this? How are they getting 50 million euros for Felix when he was at a terrible year and they're basically getting their money back and all this? For me, it's just like, one, what I would say is, right, Felix at 50 million, by the way, it's 30 million euros up front with add-ons and sell-on clause to then meet that 50 million euro thing. So let's talk about the fixed money. 30 million euros for Joao Felix at 25. That's a fair price. I don't see that as being some sort of inflated. Look, if Saudi had come and paid 70 million for him, I could hear it a bit more. They spent 30 million euros on him. Like, what's the issue?
I don't understand, because I'll tell you where it's hypocritical. Is any club now that says, "Oh, we need to sell so and so." Oh, maybe a Saudi club comes in for him. No, everyone's got a problem until it's their own club.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, everyone's got the problem. Like Spurs fans, oh, Chelsea are cheats. They've done it with oil money and City with oil money. Listen, when we were linked the other week with Aramco, the world's biggest oil company, taking us over,
big backing,
and Spurs fans are going, yeah,
you'll have some of that. Yeah,
we'll have that. Like, honestly, man, I just think, listen, the banter's one thing from football fans, but listen, I think where people can sell their players, you sell the players. I don't know why everyone. I think a lot of it is jealousy. I'm jealous.
100%.
We have not sold a single player this summer.
How many need to go, do you think?
15. No. 5, 6.
5, 6 from the first team squad.
Richarlison. Yeah. I think people like Richarlison, people like Basuma, they keep talking about. People like Solomon, people like Brian Hill, people like Ben Davis, people like, I don't know, there's so many that could go. Spurs can't get rid of them. So I'm jealous that other clubs, City, so good at selling. Chelsea, so good at selling. Right? Liverpool seem to be able
Liverpool to a degree decent as well. Decent fee for Diaz, yeah.
So I don't know, man. Look, I don't know.
Would you sell Bentancur as well? Would you get rid of Bentancur?
Either or. I mean, like I said to you earlier, Bentancur is a decent, tidy midfielder, right? Again, Spurs fans rate him there. I think he's there. Do you know that the greatest trick that we ever did was, at the time Bentancur came in, our central midfielders were people like Sissoko and Winks and Skip.
He looked unreal, yeah.
So he comes in and we all go, oh my God. What? He's got a first touch. Oh my God.
He's football. Unbelievable.
He's amazing. In reality, I think he's okay. I've got no problem with him staying. But equally, if I woke up and someone said, oh, we sold Bentancur for 40 million. All right, cool. Who are we bringing in?
Yeah.
I want a bit more mobility from my centre mids. I want a bit more get up and go. I want a bit more And this guy, for me, always injured, always something going on with him. He's all right. He's all right. I've seen Gaza. I've seen players like Hoddle, Waddle, Gaza, Ginola, Dembele. I've seen these footballers that when these younger fans go, oh my God, he's a baller, and I'm like, maybe in this era he's a baller, but I mean,
not in previous ones. Before we round out, let me just quickly answer this. Mate, the situation is that both deals will get done. They're literally at their final negotiations, need to be sorted out. These things always take a bit longer than people are prepared to be patient for, but yeah, mate, I'm 99% certain that both these players will be Chelsea players, so we can relax on that front. There's no need to stress. Those deals will get done. We'll get them done. We'll sign these players, and they'll be great for us. Yeah, mate, we'll round this one out there. Sava, thank you so much for joining me, mate. It's always a pleasure to catch up. If the people don't know where to find you, let them know.
Yeah, Football Heritage TV. Yeah, that's where I am. So if you want to come over, I obviously mainly Spurs, but I talk a lot about other football. Like you're joining me tonight at
I'll
8
be there.
with some other guests talking all football. And as you've seen, I try not to get sucked into the massive hypes and overreactions on every player. I just try and keep it real. So if anyone wants to subscribe, then you're welcome. But thanks for having me on, Charlie. And,
no, it's a pleasure, mate. No problem at all.
Guys, get this man. I can't do that. It's really weird because
it's weird, isn't it? It's like
it's backwards, isn't it?
Yeah, it's backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, because at the moment this is pointing to nothing. Get this man to 20k.
Yeah, mate, we're not a million miles away, mate. You hit the 20k the other day, so yeah, congrats for that.
Yeah.
Big milestone. Yeah, mate, I'm not far away. We'll get there. We'll get there in a month or so. We need about 2,000 more, just over 2,000. So we're not a million miles away. But yeah, guys, smash up the likes if you're new around here. Make sure you subscribe as well. Subscribe to Sava channels tagged in the title. Come and join us at 8 p.m. as well. I'll share it on the community tab later on, guys. We're going to be talking all things football, so make sure you do that. Otherwise, yeah, guys, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I'll catch you lot again tomorrow.